We can't explain those programs. Huh? I hope it is clear, Swami Gaud. Huh? Don't paste a program and say explain this program. Huh? At this level, you should be able to understand those simple programs. Huh? Because you have attended all the classes related to arrays and all. What is find, what is filter methods, we'll already discuss. Huh? Yeah. So last session, we learned about how to deal with database, means we discussed about database. So what is the point about database? In the interviews, so many questions will be asked. Do you want me to attend your interviews? Huh? In interviews, so many questions will be asked, Swami Gaud. I will not attend your interviews. Okay. Already I explained every concept. You must be able to handle those programs. If you practiced every exercise I given, then it is easy to handle those. If you wasted time in not practicing those, and now you are coming in interviews, they are asking, then that is time waste. Okay. Right. In interviews, so many questions will be asked. Right. I will not attend your interviews. Huh? At the end, I will give you some programs. I told you, na? We will discuss some programs. Those programs you can practice, right? And already if you have practiced these exercises I given to you, then these programs you can manage. If you taken very light in the beginning, you haven't done the exercises I given, then it's waste of time to talking to you related to these programs. Understood? Because those logics are already explained. Already we learned such logics. And now these people, because now interviews they are attending, earlier all time wasted, right? You haven't practiced, you haven't done any exercises. I given a lot of exercises to do, right? You haven't done. So then I will not explain these programs to you. Time waste, right? If you done every exercise, post the exercises you done, then we can talk. Okay, right? I hope it is clear, Swami Gaud. Is it clear? Okay, let's continue. So technically, now we will see one sample project. How do we deal and how do we work with a project? Right. So first, as I explained yesterday about MongoDB database. So to prepare database, what are the models? So to prepare database, what are the models? So we have 4 models. What is it? Conceptual model, and another one physical model, another one logical model, another one entity model. Right. So what is conceptual model? What is conceptual model? Conceptual model. What is conceptual model? So conceptual model comprises of information about the modules that need data. What is physical model? Physical model contains the information about the table name, field name, and data types. What is logical model? Logical model contains relationship between the data. What is entity model? Entity model, it is technically all the table name, field name, data type, relationship and all. We call it as what? ER diagram. ER diagram. Right. So now we will see one example, one project we will take, and based on that we will handle. But for that, first we need to learn how to design database. To work with a project, first I will give you the overview of how do we work with the database. Then according to the project, we will design the database. So first, in MongoDB, yesterday I told you two things. First, you have to start MongoDB server. So from services, you have to start MongoDB server. After that, we are using MongoDB Compass. Everyone done that? Right? So because in Windows 7 it will not work. I hope you are using Windows 8 and higher versions, right? So MongoDB server and MongoDB Compass. So MongoDB Compass here is how do we work with the Compass. So I will show you now. Actually, what is this server Compass? Actually, Compass is a client tool. Compass is a client tool. In every database, there will be server and client. That means in every database, we will have server and client. So in every database, we will have server and client. That means actually, we will have a server. This is a server. So in this server, generally, all the data is present. That means the data is stored inside this server. And for this server to connect with this server, there will be some address. Generally, MongoDB uses MongoDB:127.001.27017. This is the location where the MongoDB is working. All the data is stored in this location. So we are using a computer. So we are using a computer. Now actually in this computer, we will have a client tool. Client tool is actually MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a client tool. Now what happens by using this MongoDB Compass? We connect with this server. So data is stored in the server. Data is present in the server. And we connect and we can access. MongoDB Compass provides two techniques. It provides a GUI from where you can interact with the server. And it will provide an command line, CLI, command line interface. That means we can write commands and interact with the database. We can directly interact with the database without commands also. Without commands, we can interact with the database. And with commands, we can interact with database. Without commands, nobody need to teach you, because you will see delete button, edit button, just click the button, it will delete. So any basic computer operator can handle database without learning any commands if there is a GUI mode. Actually, it is there in Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, everywhere GUI mode is provided now. Even without the knowledge of commands, we can handle. But as a developer, we have to learn commands, because from any another technology, if I have to communicate with the database, only through commands we can communicate. So it is important for database developer to learn the commands to communicate with the database. to interact with the database. So MongoDB Compass provides two tools here, GUI and CLI. So GUI is what? So graphical user interface. CLI is command line interface. So it is CLI. Now through CLI, so we need to handle the commands. By using commands, you can communicate with the database. So we will see how to use these commands. But in order to work with these commands, you need to understand. So first, MongoDB terminology. You need to understand important terms, MongoDB terminology. Actually, in the MongoDB terminology, you will have options like, the first thing is we have the options like, so I will compare here. Generally, we are using Oracle, or we are using MySQL or some other database, and we are using MongoDB. Then what is basic difference is, in Oracle, MySQL and all, we usually have database. And database is nothing but it is the location where data is stored. Database is the location where data is stored. So, and very important, in MongoDB also, we will have database. That means here also data is stored in database. Now, generally, in Oracle and MySQL, in a database, data is stored in tables. So that means database stores data in table. But in MongoDB, it will be collection. That means here we don't have the word tables. MongoDB is a collection. Same because it is JSON type. JSON type means JavaScript based technologies. Collection means what? In JavaScript based technologies, collection means what? Collection means we have only one collection. Collection means collection of multiple values. Collection of multiple values in JavaScript is an array. Right? We have only one collection in JavaScript. What is it? Array. Right? So generally here, when we are dealing with the database, we will have same words for Oracle and MongoDB database. But in Oracle and MySQL, data is stored in tables. Here data is stored in collection. It is stored in collection. Next important is, generally in a table, data is kept in, we will have rows, or we call them as records. Rows and records. That means we call records. So that means every table contains records. Here we call them as documents. That means in a collection, every record is considered as a document. Every detail is considered as a collection. In the collection, you have documents. Every row is a document. Next, generally here we have field. Field is nothing but you can call as column, and it is technically referred as field. In MongoDB also we call field only. Field means column. What is the field? Present. In that field, what value is stored? Field means name, ID, price, stock. All these are considered as what? Fields. Another important, in general databases, they have joins. Join means actually they contain data inside data. That means, so here actually we know already, here we call as embedded document. Embedded document means a document inside document. A document inside document, embedded document. So technically the MongoDB, so final, the MongoDB summary is it have database. In a database, we have collection. Inside the collection, we will have document. Inside document, you can have an embedded document. Inside document, you can have an embedded document. In the document, information is arranged in fields. Right? So a document may have inside another document, embedded documents. And every document usually will have, every document will have a field. Every document will have a field. Field means it will have a column and it will have a value. Field in value, and very important is they are JSON type. JSON type means it's like property and value. Field is nothing but property and value, right? So in MongoDB, we have to create a database. In the database, we have to create collections. In the collections, we have to add documents. In the document, there can be embedded document. Already we used NASA API. Right? When we used NASA API, what we done? So we have seen rover name, camera name. They are embedded documents. We used fake store. In the fake store, we used rating. Rating is an embedded document. Rating have rate and count. I given a task that, if you remembered, I asked you get the total count of items, price, total cost, how much, create delete button. Have you done? Nobody done. Very few people, 1-2 people submitted. So if you don't do such tasks, you can't handle interviews. Understood? Because those logics will teach you how to handle. Right? Searching, iterating, adding elements. All why I given those tasks, hotel management system. So why I given those tasks to you, BMI calculators, right? You are not practicing, and now people are coming in interview. This question asked, that question asked. I don't care. I will not answer any of your interviews because you haven't practiced those. If you have practiced, you will not ask these as questions at all. You can understand this. If you have practiced those tasks that I given, these are the concepts you can easily handle. If you haven't practiced and at the end now you are coming, what is this, how this works, I will not explain anything now. I will explain only to the people who are regularly doing the task and submitting. Others, I will not care at all. Remember this. Why should I care? If you haven't done exercises, you haven't submitted exercises, why should I tell now your doubts? I will not. Understood? Because now so many people are coming. In interview, this question asked, you face. You haven't responded to my tasks. Why should I respond to your tasks? I will not respond. Understand? I will respond only to the people who submitted. Others, I will not respond. So, right, because when I give tasks, those tasks contains the logics in such complex way that those logics are asked in interviews. That is why I given those tasks. Right. So how many tasks I given? Asked you to design. Every day, only few people are submitting. Only 2-3 people are doing those tasks and submitting. Others, nobody doing. Right. So I will do only one point. At the end, I will give you some programs. At the end, I will give you some programs. You practice them for interviews. Right? Because till now, whatever you learned, that is enough to understand those programs. Those programs you practice, then you can handle interviews. Okay. So that I will do at the end. So you need, if you need those all logics to practice. So at the end, people realize, because now in attending interviews for jobs, they ask those same questions. You haven't concentrated earlier. No problem. Right? Yeah. So in the MongoDB database, now we will see how to create database, how to create collections, how to create documents, and manage the database. Right? Let's see. For that, we are using what we are using. For that, we are using CLI tools. Am I right? I am using a command line tool. Command line tool coming from MongoDB Compass. So open MongoDB Compass. This is MongoDB Compass. This is MongoDB Compass. So it have both environments, GUI and CLI. And I told you we need to connect to MongoDB. And address I given yesterday, MongoDB localhost 27017, and click on connect. So it is connected. And once it is connected, now to work with command line, actually graphical interface is easy. You see, it is showing database and it is having some databases list. If you want to see any database, just click on it. It will open the database. If you want to see what is inside it, click on it. It will open that and show. This is all simple way. Suppose I want to add a record. You see there is add data button. If I want to edit a record, you see there is a edit button. Right? Without learning any commands, we can manage database by using this graphical interface. But you have to learn commands, because we will not come here and create data. We will use our technologies. From there, we connect to this and insert records. Suppose I want to add a new record, then what we will do? We will design a form in our front end. From the form, we collect the data and we submit that to this database. In between, there will be one server-side technology which will collect the data and insert into database. In that case, it requires some commands. So we have to learn those commands. To run those commands, at the bottom, you can see there is Mongo shell, SH. It is just like terminal. In our Visual Studio Code, we have terminal. It is just like that. Mongo shell. You can open this Mongo shell, expand this now. This is the Mongo shell. And here you can use the commands and you can learn managing the data. managing the data. Let's see how. Means how to use the shell and what to work, right? So we will see now MongoDB commands. We will see the MongoDB commands. First command is, the first thing you have to know is how to see what databases are present already, what databases are present. For that, we have to use the command show DBS. Show DBS. Show DBS is nothing but it is used to view the list of existing database. So it is used to view the list of existing database. Just what you have to do in the terminal, you have to run the command show DBS. Show DBS is used to view the list of database, what databases are available. So remember, MongoDB commands are JavaScript commands, so they are case sensitive. Capitalization matters. Exactly in which case they provide, in the same case we have to use. Okay. Next, in the MongoDB commands, first let's open this and run the command here. I'm using the command, okay, show DBS. Show DBS and hit enter. It shows the list of databases. You can see this is the list of database. We are having the list of database. Admin, config, iShop, local, React, shop. We have some databases here. It shows the list of database. Actually, some databases are created by us. Some are by default available. Actually, in MongoDB, by default, 3 databases will be there: admin, config, and local. Admin, config, and local are the inbuilt databases. By default, it will have those databases. They are used for MongoDB settings, configuration, and all. For that, they need. That is learned by database administrators. We are not database administrators. We are database designers. Database administrators means taking backup of data, recovery of data, performance of data. They all learn that concept. We call them as DBA. So Oracle developer will be there. Oracle DBA people will be there. Oracle BI people will be there. Last session I told you. No? That means Oracle database people will be there. Oracle database administrators will be there. Oracle business intelligence people will be there. So there are so many categories, right? Actually, Oracle is also a ERP. That means Oracle finance management, Oracle purchasing management, admin departments, every category it is having. Same like SAP. You might have heard about SAP, right? SAP. Same like SAP, Oracle also have a lot of modules, right? So this MongoDB, we are using only databases and we are learning only database designing, not administrations. Database administration is different. So in that, to see the list of databases, we have to use show DBS, right? Next important is, another option is, how do we create a new database? How do we create a new database? To create a new database, we have to use the command use. Use database name. We have to use the command use and the database name. Database name. So use command is used to create a new database. If there is no database by the name you given, it will create. If already there is a database by that name, it will start using it. It will start using that database. So Use is used for creating the database and using existing database. Create a new database and use existing database. For that, we have to use the command use, right? So here I will give simple command like, so use and any name, suppose shopping DB. So, or we create like fake store, right? Fake store DB. Any name you can give. For traditionally databases, we use the extension DB, not extension suffix. Not compulsory. You can give any name, right? So go to the shell. Now how to create a database? So to create the database, you have to use the command use database name. Database name is a fake store, right? Fake store. First, we will learn how to use the commands. Then we will take one project. According to project, we will build, right? First, use fake store, enter. Automatically, you can see switch to fake store. That means database is created. But remember, database is created. Currently, we are in fake store. Database is created, but important is here, database will not be displayed. Database will not be displayed in list if it is empty. That means database will be displayed only when there is some data inside. If there is no data, then it cannot display that in the list. That means now the database you created is not permanent. If you close MongoDB now, automatically that fake store will be deleted. When it will be permanent? Only when it is having some data. You add some collections into it, then it is permanent. Otherwise, it is temporary. That means now the fake store is created. How to see the list of database? To see the list of database, show DBS. You can see in the list fake store is not there. In the list, you can see fake store is not there. Why? Because, but it is showing here fake store is there now. So why? Because a database will not be permanent until or unless it has some data. Accidentally now, suppose, or intentionally you close, then automatically it will be closed. Means it is deleted. So that is technical. So how to create a new database or to use existing database. Next important is, after creating database, where to store data? Data is stored in collections. That means we have to create a new collection. Collection is in other databases, they call it as table. So we have to create a new collection. So how do we do that? For that, we have to use DB. DB is current database. It will access the current database. DB dot create collection. We have to use DB dot create collection. In that create collection, you have to define the collection name and you have to define the collection attributes, collection related attributes. This attributes is optional. That means without attributes also you can define. But what are attributes? I will tell you. That means how to create collection. Suppose in fake store, you have seen fake store API. In fake store, what data you have seen separate? In fake store, what data you have seen? Separate data. Actually, you have seen two separate data. One is only categories array. Am I right? Only categories array. Only categories array, in that only category names are present. Another one is products array. In that products array, all products are present. And in the products array, we have product ID, product name, price. All these details are present, right? So actually, when you are creating any database, for every module you need to maintain a table. For every module you need to maintain a collection. In fake store, actually two collections were there. One collection is categories, another collection is products. Categories contains the list of only categories, because generally what happens is, after few days one more category may come, and when you add a product, that product may belong to that particular category. So that means there must be relation between categories and products. So we can create any table. Let's do one thing. So I want to create a table collection. So db dot create collection, and collection name. Collection name I given categories. This is one collection. In that we can store all categories related information. So this is enough. This is enough. Now automatically it will take the options by itself. Or we can write like this: db dot create collection. Here we can define products, some collection, and if you want, you can mention some options for products. For this collection, you can define some attributes. You can define some attributes here, right? Attributes are optional. In the previous collection, we haven't given. If you want, you can give. What are the attributes actually? What are the attributes and why you need them? For example, see currently, suppose I will create a collection. db dot create collection. What is the collection name? Collection name, suppose I given categories. Then hit enter. Automatically it says okay. Okay means it created. That means it is creating the collection and displaying. So that means one collection is created. Now you see show DBS. In the databases, fake store is present. Otherwise it will not be there, right? So we created one collection. Actually, for creating collection, so we have another one, db dot create collection, and here you can mention table name, and here we can add some attributes. What are the attributes used for table? Attribute and description. Let's see. What are the attributes used for tables? What are the attributes used for tables? The attributes used for tables is nothing but, for tables we have one attribute called auto index ID. Auto index ID. It is a Boolean type. Boolean type means we have to set it to true or false. Auto index ID means, so when you add a table and when you add records in table, for every record a unique ID is taken automatically. so that it is easy for fetching the records by unique ID. Suppose in a company, hundreds, thousands of employees are there. Same name employee may be there. In that case, we need a unique ID for every employee. Generally, in other databases, we have to create a primary key. That means we have to create one field which will keep them unique. That means for every employee, we will give an employee ID. That will be unique. That employee ID cannot be given to any another, right? But here, you don't mention any unique ID, automatically it will take an ID. That means every record in MongoDB collection will have a unique reference ID. By default, it will have a unique reference ID. If you want, you can disable. If you want, you can disable. How to disable? By set auto index ID as false. If you say auto index ID false, then a unique ID is not used. Then you have to manually set a unique ID. One ID field you have to add and you have to keep it unique. So if you are not giving unique IDs, then later filter problems will come. Filtering, editing issues will come. So unique ID, that means it specifies that every document will have a unique reference ID. If set to true. So if set to true, which one set to true? Auto index ID is set to true. So if set to true, then every document will have a unique reference ID. So that is the unique reference ID. That is auto index ID, right? So it is Boolean type. You can set true or false. Next, we have another option is size. Size is nothing but, here size defines, it is a number actually. Size is a number. It is nothing but it specifies the space allocated for collection. How much space is allocated for collection? That is defined by using size. The space allocated for collection. How much space we want to allocate for this in memory? Actually, so it is defined in bytes. It is defined in bytes. That means suppose if I want to allocate 2 MB, then how? Actually, so 1024 bytes. 1024 bytes is equal to 1 kilobyte, KB. And 1024 kilobyte is equal to 1 MB. Similarly, 1024. So 1024 MB is equal to 1 GB. That's how we need to do. Right? So that's how we have to calculate. That means actually, if I give 1024 into 1024, then it will be 1 MB size. That means whatever value comes, 1024 into 1024, how much number comes? That is 1 MB. That is 1 MB. Because 1024 plus 1024 means 2 KB. 2 KB. Because 1024 is 1 KB. Plus means 2 KB. Into means 1 MB. It will be 1 MB, right? Like that we will calculate the size. So if you mention the size, it will not allow to store more data than the size mentioned. It will fix the size. If anything you are adding more, it will say memory full. We can restrict the size. If you don't mention size, then automatically it will adjust the size according to memory available. That is good. But if you want to fix the size, you can mention size. Another important is max. Max is also number. Max is also number. Actually, max is nothing but it specifies the maximum number of records. The maximum number of records. So to allow. That means how many records you want to allow. 10 records, 5 records, 50 records, 100 records. You can set limit. That means you can set max 10. That means it will not allow more than 10. That means it will fix to 10. So we can set that by using max. That is max number of records. Next, we have another option that is capped. This is very important. Capped is also Boolean. Actually, capped is nothing but this depends on max. Suppose you said max 10 and capped is true. Then I try to store 11th record. Then what will happen? Maximum is 10. Then I am trying to store 11th record. And when capped is true, that means now what it will do is for 11th record, it will show a message that I can't store this. Because if capped is true, that means the size is fixed and no one is allowed. No one extra is allowed. If you set capped false, then what will happen is after you store 10 records, you entered 11th one. Then if capped is false, it will remove the old record and add the new one. That means total number will be 10 only every time. But old records are removed and new records are replaced. Only 10 will be there. For example, you see when you are watching Gmail, first page, it will show 50 mails. When a new mail comes, then it will be in first 50 list. The old one will go to the next page. Go to the next page. Here it is not like that. It will remove old and it will put the new. That means the first record will be deleted and this new record will come. So that is depending on what? Capped. So if set to true, what will happen? So new records are new documents. New documents are not allowed. New documents are not allowed after reaching max size. Understood? After reaching max size, new documents are not allowed. If you set false, then what will happen? So if set to false, then new document will replace what? It will replace the old. It will replace the old. So after reaching max, the new one will replace the old. That is what capped is. So we can use these attributes while creating a table. While creating a table, we can do that. So that means creating a collection. So how to mention that? So we have to use db dot create collection. And here we have collection name products. Here we can have attributes. First, auto index ID. We can set to true or false. We can define max. Max is 10. We can define capped. Capped is true. We can set size. Size is in MB. How to do that? MB, it is in bytes. But how to do that? Suppose I will open calculator. Let's calculate 1024 into 1024. 1024 is equal to this 1 MB. This is 1 MB size into 2. That means it is 2 MB size. That is the 2 MB size. I need to copy this number. Okay. Let's paste that number here, but no commas. Directly you have to define. That means you are allocating how many bytes of space? 2 MB of space. That is the size you have to define. Right now, see, I am defining like this. So here auto index ID. Auto index ID true. Second one is size. Size is the number I have copied. Another one max. Max is 10. Another one is capped. Capped we will keep as true. Like this, we have to define the options. After doing that, now hit enter. That means after defining that, we need to keep enter. Now this is the option. This is all the command. Now after that, hit enter. When you hit enter, now you see it is created. Okay. That means it created a table with all the attributes that you have defined. So defining while creating tables means while creating collections, 2 points are there. Without attributes, you can give with attributes. Without attributes, if I given, what will happen? By default, auto index ID will be true. By default, size will be according to memory available. And there is no limit of documents. No limit of documents, 10 documents, 100 documents. That depends on how much memory available. Memory available. And there is no limit, so capped will not work. Because there is no limit, the capped will not work. And actually by default, capped is true. Suppose you used complete memory available, then what will happen? By default, capped is true. Then what will happen is you try to add a new record, it says memory full, but it will not disturb. Old records, it will not delete. So default options are defined. Right? So this is creating a collection. How to create a database and how to create a collection. And how to see what are the collections available. To view the list of collections. To view the list of collections, you have to just use show collections. You have to just use the command show collections. Show DBS, show collections. So here I am typing show collections. Show collections. Then automatically it will display that fake story is having categories and products. The collections. So if you want to remove any collection, if you want to remove any collection, suppose I want to remove products, then db dot products dot we have to use drop. We have to use the drop. Then it will be removed. True. True means that table is removed. Collection is removed. Now show collections. Show collections. It will have only categories. It will have only categories. So you can simply remove the collections. So to remove any collection, so then we have to use db dot collection name dot drop. That means db dot some products dot drop. It will remove that particular collection. So we have view collections and we have remove collection. Now Database is ready, collection is ready, but the collection don't have any data inside. How to add data inside? Let's see. Actually, to insert documents, next point, to insert documents. To insert documents into collection, actually we have three options. Insert, we have insert one, and we have insert many. Insert many. Insert one, insert many. Now in the latest version, this insert is obsolete. Obsolete means it is no longer in use. Obsolete means it is no longer in use. But it will work. It is not in use, but it will work. Already I told you in JavaScript based technologies, one point is in JavaScript based technologies, in first version what they release, it is available even today. They will not remove any old feature. They will simply tell the developers that don't use them, right? But still you can use them. But if you use them, what will happen? You will have abnormal behavior because they don't suit the current situation. Then why they still kept it? Because some people may be using old versions. Some projects may be still using old version, so they can't remove that option. They have to keep the option. So that is the reason even you are learning new versions, several old version options you need to know because they are still in use. Because they may currently latest version of MongoDB is 6, but in companies they may be using 4 or 3. In companies, majority they may be using 4 or 3. Nobody uses 6 because 6 is very latest, and projects are started from 1-2 years back. They are still working on that project. Suddenly they will not change the version without finishing the project. Even you finish the project also, until client wants, we don't change the version. So that is the reason insert is there, but don't try this anymore. You have only insert one and insert many. And it's very simple. Actually, what we do, how to insert? So to insert db dot collection name, and dot we have to use insert. If it is insert one, means how many records you can add? 1. And every record is a JSON type. JSON type means it's an object. In that object, you have to mention the field and we have to mention the value. You have to mention another field and we have to mention another value. So field and mention another value. That is how you need to manage. That is a simple collection name, insert one. You can add the record. What are the field names and what are the values? Remember, all are JavaScript type. That means string, number, boolean, array, object, anything. All JavaScript data types are used as type for values in MongoDB. It's a JSON type. Other database not like that. Generally, if you have to learn Oracle or MySQL, other database, again you have to learn a complete language, data types, statements, how to write the queries, so many. Here all is the JavaScript based, so we already know how data will be. Suppose now I hope you can tell, if it is db dot collection name dot insert many. How to insert many records at a time? We have to write like an array of what objects. No need to explain that, right? So it is a simple thing and you already know. That is array of objects. If you want to insert many, one means only one. Let's see here. Suppose currently we have a collection called category. In the categories, db dot, what is it? Categories. Categories dot insert one. Insert one. Insert one. Here we have to mention what you want to insert. So here I will use category ID. Suppose category ID 1. Then I'm using another field. What is it? Category name. Category name. So category name. Category name some electronics. Like this we added. So one is electronics. Now hit enter. Then automatically that record is inserted. It says inserted one record and automatic ID is given to it. Every record will have an auto ID. Automatic ID is defined for that. Now only one record added. Let's add multiple records. To add multiple records, db dot category dot insert many in that array of objects in that category ID. So is 2. So category name. So it is some footwear. Another object. So that is category ID. Category ID is what? Some 3. And category name. Category name is what? Fashion. Some like this. We added. Now enter. All these 2 records are added. That means 2 IDs inserted. So that means actually observe carefully now. This is graphical interface, right? So go to the graphical interface now. Select the table. What is the table? Scroll down. We have the table, no? Right? Now, what is the table we have? The table is fake store, right? Yeah, select the fake store table, refresh. I will refresh that, size reduced. Yeah, you can see fake store. In fake store, there is categories. And I click on categories, 3 documents are there. It will show that 3 documents present here. We can see command line. So command line, how to see the documents. Later I will tell you the find filtering options. Actually, if you want to see what are the records added, db dot categories, right? Dot, we have to use find. We have to use find. You know, we learned filter find commands in JavaScript. But here find is returning one and returning many also. Actually, find uses a query. If query is empty, it is returning all. If you mentioned a query, it will return only the element which is inside that. Now hit enter. It will return all the records. Category ID 1, category ID 2, category ID 3. Later I will tell you find command, how to use detail. That for that we need queries. So syntactically, this is one example here. Example I will give here how we inserted. Let me copy the command. This is the command. Copy. It is unable to copy. It is not copying the command line. Oh, fine. I'll just give here db dot categories dot insert one. In that we will have, so category ID. So category ID is 1. So category name is some electronics. Like this we can define. So this is inserting data into table. Inserting data into table. So here one more option we learned. Yeah. Array. That means we have to use db dot categories dot insert many. And here we need to use array of objects that you can try other. This is basically inserting the data. Now if you want to see what is present inside, then we have to use querying data from table. We have to learn how to query the data from table. Here we have the options. What is it? The first one is, so generally db dot collection dot find. Later I will tell you. Find, here we can put a filter if you want. So filter is optional. Okay. That means if you don't use the filter, automatically it will return all records. That means it returns all records. It will return all records. So you can see it is returning all the records. Actually, while finding, there is another option generally. So while finding, there is another option actually. db dot collection is categories dot find, and here we can add pretty. Pretty means it will show in a clean format. Actually, this is used by people if it is not displayed in clean, but already it is displayed in a clean format, so you don't need pretty. Right? I will show you, because sometimes people work in a different environment. Their clean display will not be there. Currently we are using Mongo shell, but I will show you actually. Sometimes we cd program files, cd mongodb, so cd, so 5.2 or what is it, server, yeah, cd server, cd 5.2 or 5.0, cd 5.0, in that cd bin, in that Mongo. Here you can see the client is here. This is client tool, CLI. Here also I can use show dbs. I can run like this, right? But you don't do this. You just use that Mongo shell, right? But developers have different choice. They don't, because sometimes they don't have Mongo Compass. If they don't have Mongo Compass, then from command line they can work. For that they need to change into that location actually. So here see db dot use, first you have to use which db, fake store. So after that db will show fake store is there. Right here db dot categories dot find. You see it will not be in clean way. It is not displaying in a clean way. Then what we do? db dot categories dot find dot pretty. Then it will display clean. So everywhere we don't need that. That depends on environment, right? That is only for display clean way. That doesn't matter, right? To read all the records we can use. Here it is by default in a pretty way, right? It is in a pretty way. So ID, category ID, category name. If not, then we do like that, right? This is how we can display the data. Now in this, lot of filters are there. Suppose I want to find only the category whose ID is 1. I want to find all the products whose category is jewelry. I want to find the price, products whose price is above 500. I want to find the products whose price is above 500 and belongs to jewelry. So many query styles will be there. For that, we need to learn how to write the queries. Actually, Oracle, MySQL, they have to use a lot of SQL language. But here we have to just use find with some filter conditions. We have to write some filter queries, right? That we'll see in next session, right? First, this is so many things we learned. First, you need to practice this, right? So then we can do other things, how to handle. Okay, na? Right? So tomorrow we'll continue.